So I got this job where I was given 250,000 children to organize into a system, a childcare system. And it was set up by a tribal government on the border of Botswana. South Africa had given them all these patches of land. There were vast differences between each of these patches of land. And so with my passion to settle my soul debt and to, I guess, really rekindle my spirit and my belief in humanity, I was given a job and I found a person called Puna who worked with me, and we set up a bunch of workshops, and I commandeered an old abandoned colonial mansion in which to run workshops, which became the first resource center for African women in sub-Saharan Africa. That's just a little boast on the side. But what happened was that the first 50 women who arrived in a way that I really wasn't prepared for. First of all, nobody had said they were coming. I had no idea how many people would come. 50 people arrived at this abandoned mansion that I'd resuscitated. This abandoned mansion whose garden I had fixed up, where we had vegetable gardens and vegetables growing and flowers, and the trees had fruit on them and so on. You've got to keep that in mind, right? And so these women arrived out of the blue. Some of them had come on donkey carts, some of them had walked, some of them had hitched rides on trucks. They'd come for miles and miles. And they arrived, gave them tea, coffee, and food, sandwiches, collected in the big room where I did workshops. It used to be the ballroom in that place's heyday. And you know, we spent 5 days working together about how to create a community based on their children, to make the children come first. Because how else were we going to get beyond apartheid and starvation and oppression, let alone misogyny? Let's give the children a chance to become the leaders. At the end of 5 days, we handed out a certificate of attendance which would ensure them a salary to set up places for their children in their communities with support. And Puna, who was this wonderful woman that worked with me and who translated, because I only spoke Zulu and not Setswana, and these were all Botswana women, Puna and I go into my office with a pot of tea and a plate of sandwiches, kick off our shoes, sit down, and I go, "Oh, Puna, did all the women leave by the back door?" "Oh," she said, "Masadi, your brain is always so busy. Have our tea and sandwiches." So I said, "No, Puna, wait a minute. Did they go out of the back door through the garden, or did they go out through the front door to the street?" She said, "The back door, huh? They like the back garden." And I went, "Oh, Puna, hang on. and I headed out of the front door, and I hit the pavement or the sidewalk, and I saw this long line of 50 women with great big bundles on their heads, and branches tied to the top of the bundles, and the bundles are just on their heads, and the branches are swaying as they're sauntering up the street, and I think, oh no! Now what? Because I had stocked the pantry with matches and sugar and tea and coffee and soap and and toilet paper and whoa, and they were going up the street just and I went, oh, now what am I going to do? So I kicked off my shoes and I ran up and I went to the head of the line and I said, wait, stop, please. And so the whole line kind of concertinaed to a stop. And I said, I just turn around and go back to the back garden. I need to talk to you about something that's really important. Please. So they turned around and they moseyed back to the resource centre. And as they were going through the gate, I was now at the end of the line. Puna was standing at the gate and she looked at me and she said, oh, the pantry is ransacked. So rather than following the women down the side of the building into the backyard, I went through the front door and thought, oh, no. What am I going to do? How can I keep going here? How can I not accuse them of stealing? I feel so let down. This is just... And I, walked past that ballroom where we'd done this workshop, and the song just felt like a faded, collapsed heart of memory. And I kept going down the long passageway, and I got to the back door, and when I got to the back door, the earth smelt like a storm. It just ripped it out of its own life, and I stood there, and the garden was just mayhem. And Puna had got them all lined up, standing with their bundles on their heads. And so I went and stood next to Puna, and I grabbed her arm, and she said, so now what, Masadi? Masadi means woman. So now what, Masadi? So I said, Puna, could you ask them, please, to put their bundles on the grass and open them and unpack them? And she looked at me and she said, how? I said, yeah, because she felt devastated by her own people. And I felt devastated by our peopleness. And they opened their bundles, and there were matches and tea and sugar and, everything. And branches from the peach trees and vegetables pulled out by the roots and flowers and I said, Masadi, which means women, Masadi, help me now. I need you to help me work with you on how to share. And Zondi came back to mind. We do not divide. We share. And the woman, one particular woman, stepped forward and she said, Apartheid has given us bad ways. We have forgotten what it is to share. We don't know anymore what we knew for so long. This woman speaks the truth, the light. That helped me a lot, let me tell you, because then I went to each woman, Puna and I went to each woman and said, this is for you to take home, and this is for the resource centre, where more women are going to come. So we are sharing. Their bundles were a lot lighter when they left, and they sang as they left, and sharing began.